My man.
What's up, yo?
We finally made it.
We finally made it.
Took 5 years, but we made it.
Yo, man. All right. I told you I'm in the toy in the play phase. I got my little Insta 360 cam. Yo, I got my little. Now this joint. Now listen. Now I do a lot of content for clients. You get me, for social media and stuff like that. But got my little pocket Osmo, doc. Yeah. I'm not a minimalist, yo.
When I see people, I always want to kick them when I'm shooting. Get out my way, yo. Like, yeah.
Yo, this is the craziest thing, man. It's so funny.
But every time I see somebody want the other one to spin kick, I'm like, bro, look, I understand you trying to get what you got to get, but yeah. We better have a problem. You getting this next shot. And see, that was the thing too. Like when you talk about equipment and gear, that was one of the reasons why I actually went Nikon at the time. Because as a beginner shooter on the still side, it was a lot simpler. Or a lot more simple. And on the video side, I was a rock star with Canon.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, I like both cameras. I like the output of both cameras, but I'm using them for totally different things.
Yeah.
So like you hand me a Canon, I'm gonna still blaze it with a Canon.
Yeah.
But it might take me a little longer to get through the menu.
Yeah.
Sony, I don't even want to see a Sony because their menus are so complicated, it's unreal.
Well, you need to know coding if you want to shoot with Sony. Yes. Respect to y'all Sony cats, yo. You need to be able. That's a lot. I tried to transition to Sony about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I got a FX. I don't remember what it was. I got one. They had one used at Service Photo. Took the thing home. I was like, nope. Taking this. I played with it for 7 minutes. The next day, it's back to the stove.
It was brain surgery. I said, nah, I'll leave that for Ben Carson. I want no parts of this.
Ben Carson.
Zero. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. But you messed me up with Nikon because I've seen, even with the videos, I've seen, like, even the joke you did with Mike for the scholarship bank. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, and I think it kind of goes to show, like, you shoot with what you can put your hands on, because it's like if you can figure the lighting out, that's gonna be after. That's 90% of the battle. Yeah. Lighting and framing is gonna be just from an output perspective, not all the other stuff we talked about, but like Canon, Sony, what's the name, Blackmagic, like they all kind of get you the same.
It's the same principle. At the end of the day, can you execute?
Yeah.
Like you talked about earlier, can I put you in all these diverse environments? Can you zip through that menu? Can you get through shutter speed, proper exposure, all the things? If you can't get that down, you dead in the water. I don't care what you're shooting with. You can shoot with your phone. I've seen people shoot things with their phone and the lighting was phenomenal. And if you didn't know better, you wouldn't know the difference between an iPhone or Android or, a Z8. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So
I had one of my frat brothers came here. He wanted to see the space, trying to do some content, all that kind of stuff. But we were talking, he was like, he said, I'm just not getting the right output for, like, I got a team that's doing this, and this. We got a Sony FX30, and this is the video that they came, and the video was bad. To be honest with you, it was really, really bad. I was like, I said, bro, it's not the camera. So later on that night, I sent him a video. I said, yo, this is the kind of camera you had. And it was like a football team. I sent him another one. It was like a basketball team, like slow-mo and nice colors and da-da-da. So, yo, this is what you have. Like, it's not always the gear, but it's the
operator.
You get me? It's the operator. Yeah. So I'm saying if you can get a decent quality thing, don't matter, like, if you're trying to get into the thing, so that's my thing. For someone who's trying to get in at a base level. Mm-hmm. Now, where you are now, know what you know now, what would be some encouragement for someone that's trying to, like, brand new, fresh in?
I'd do it all over again like I did before. Now, on the video side, the investment I was talking about with Mom's money, I did that on the video side. That wasn't still.
Got it.
I obviously worked my tail off and made money and eventually. But my first camera was a Nikon D70. I went to Service Photo and bought a used camera. And so I would also recommend buying used from your local camera shop, number one, and invest in small businesses. Number two, it builds relationships at those small businesses. So in an event that you need to go in and you break something, you drop a
Yeah.
$3,000 lens like I did a few months back and need a loaner in real time, they're like, okay, we got a great relationship with this person. He's great for our brand because he's been loyal. He sends people us on a regular basis. It's cyclical. So
Hey, it's cool. Listen. I ain't I ain't too proud to beg,
listen,
Doc.
man, listen.
I just know. I called JJ like, yo. He was like, yo, go there. Tell him ask for this person. Tell him I sent you. Boy, I ain't never get so much love in an establishment. Now that's my local. That's where I go. I've gotten everything here. I've gotten from there.
Yeah, yeah.
They ain't know me until
Yeah.
until they knew me.
But when you talk about though, reputation supersedes people
Yeah.
too. Sometimes that has to be able to speak for you when you're not in the room, and it also allows room for someone else to level up as a result of you not being a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things. So I think it's important.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not afraid to put people on. I'm not afraid of competition.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You walk in the room, all right, it's go time.
Yeah.
But it's always go time.
Yeah.
You may not know it's always go time. But I know when you walk in the room, whether it's me, you, Michael McCoy, Kenny Holston, Kelly Finch, and I'm naming local photographers and international ones. But when y'all walk in the room, I already know what time it is. Y'all ain't playing with me and I ain't playing with y'all.
Yeah.
But when you look at the final result of what we all produce, it's like, yo,
We did some good work.
yeah, we did some good work and we did it together. Even though we had individual assignments, like we literally can now see it on social media and say, look, I was next to you and I didn't know you were producing that.
Yeah.
I expected it, but to see it, and then you can shout that person out
Yeah.
and show love to them. And then that community of support continues to grow. So, you know, man, I don't just see it as me winning when we get in these rooms. Like, I want to see other people win too.
Yeah.
Because eventually we're going to be on podcasts like this or in real time, which we, kind of already do, talking to larger audiences with young people and some professionals and having to inspire them in these moments, having to have these conversations about the things that we didn't get right.
Yeah.
Because if you go to one of my cards, every shot ain't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes I'm walking and my trigger is going off. I don't even realize it because I done unlock the button,
Yeah.
my vertical grip button, and like,
Yeah.
because I'm shooting a press conference in silent mode. I don't know. I done took 30 shots
Yeah.
of my feet.
Absolutely.
So I got a whole Nike commercial.
worth the sneaker shot.
Yeah. So it's things of that nature. Like we're not even transparent about, but it happens.
Yeah.
I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't goof up some days.
Yeah.
But the one thing you can't not do is get the main shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's you sent me things like that's the thing. Like I've grown accustomed to your well, that was to your old style now. I will say this. Find someone whose art that you appreciate and still like an artist. I had that book up here for a little bit, but I authentically believe that like a lot of my style, most of my style now is directly attributed to what I seen you do, what I see you do. I've watched you in rooms. It's weird. It's everyone is looking for action. You're looking for emotion. Everyone's looking for, and you do. I mean, you're doing both. You do, but it would have messed up my cool phrase to say. But everybody's is always facing at the stage and what's happening here, and you'll grab that, and then you'll spin around and who's in the crowd, who's being impacted. Some of my more favorite shots that I've got, I did a funeral. It sounds crazy, but but to your point of knowing the room, knowing all that kind of stuff, I knew the husbands that were communicating and I knew their wives. So I knew that there was one guy, he's ordained minister, but really doesn't get he's in the government, really don't really get the opportunity. He got to share something and was doing a very good job. I looked over at his wife and she was just beaming from ear to ear. I'm like, oh, Doc, that's the shot. That mean that's a shot. There was a video playing of the guy who had died. And it was a deep moment. I looked over at the son, and the son was just watching it, and just a dry tear coming down. I'm like, boom. That's the shot. Like, so it's like catching those moments of the emotion, as well as catching the action and what's going on as well.
Let me touch on that a little. I actually learned that, like the wide, medium, tight concept. I still shoot like I work.
Talk about that first, just real quick, and then
Okay.
go to. I don't want to cut you off, but
No.
like, because that's wisdom. Because that's how my brain works now.
Okay. So like wide, medium, tight is something I was taught in journalism school, on the documentary film side. So wide, you see the whole room. Medium, shrink the room. Tight shots is really all the color, the emotion you were talking about. But I learned that in a TV sense. So as I'm shooting from a still perspective, as I'm shooting, I'm seeing it in television frames because I'm still I'm listening to the words, I'm listening to the speaker, or if I had a script or something that before we went out, or a briefing document is what we call internally. If I read the words of, say, Mayor Scott's speech, and I probably studied it the night before if it's available to me, I already know or have an idea of what he's going to say. So now when I'm walking around the room, how do I visually complement the words that are happening? So when people go back, so say if Charm TV needed something from our archives and they wanted to go back and do a recap, and they had predominantly stills and they had a voiceover for them, they literally could tell that same story from the images that I shot in a television fashion. Or we could take it to print and use it for print media. Put some words up in front of the nose, or, if I'm doing extreme third things, and so,
Oh yeah.
so it actually gives a print media person room to be creative too. So I'm thinking about the next person as well. I'm not just thinking about shooting a cool shot.
Yeah.
Can I put words on this? Can they use it in our end of the year report? If you hadn't read it, go read it. But I looked at a lot of those things and I was like, you know what? I saved space for the next person to do their job too. So I'm not only thinking about me in that moment, I'm also thinking about what's the extension of what happens next after this image is used.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I know it's a little extreme, but yeah.
Well, no, it would, yeah. But it's also like, I think that for folks that like in my seat, I got your back on the time. Too,
Okay.
by the way.
Okay.
What time you gonna be walking out of here?
About 5 minutes here.
Okay.
5, 10 at the most.
All right, cool. When I think through, what was you saying?
From where? Where?
What was your last statement you just made?
Oh, the mayor stuff or print media?
Oh, so it is extreme, but it's also not extreme, because of where your art goes. For a lot of like younger or newer folks, like our stuff is going on Facebook and Instagram. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of ways, and not that diminishes by any means, but like, I've been trying to think more through like actual prints. Man, I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna show you the picture on the way out too. But like this is saxophone player I've been capturing for a few years, and I printed stuff out and it's hanging up on my walls right now. And to be able to give him a 24 by 36 print, and for him to be able to see his stuff on the wall, like it meant something, because typically, especially now, that's why it's so easy to get into this media space, because everything's digital, everything's on your phone, everything's on an iPad, but to like turn the art into something like a hard copy, something to be able to give. Let me tell you, and then I want you to kind of give your like last words, but like, let me tell you my new little move. Here's my new move, Doc. I got a, well, I ain't even get it. My kids got one for Christmas. Like the Polaroid camera type situations. I'm flicking with the Polaroid at the end of a shoot for an event. Like you're just some nostalgic kind of group fix. And I got my little business card sticker, QR code, boom, stick that on the back of the joint. And that's gonna be kind of like my functional business card, because folks can put that on the fridge. It's a little, but because it hard copies. Yo, there was a dude, last thing I say, I'm at the National Harbor for one of them little jazz night situations. We outside in July. Old head came around with some busted up, wow, I didn't know how that thing was even on. Some old DSLR Canon, with this big old clunky flash on it. He was like, "Y'all want your picture taken?" I'm like, "No, bro, I'm good. We good." My man was going around taking pictures of folks got a little Canon printer, printed them things off,
Yeah.
threw them things in a little dollar store frame, $20 a pop. My man made like $2,000 that night. That was low. That was low. I mean, yo, the boy looked crazy. Yo. I got a picture of him. It looked like a crazy thing, but like,
Coach always said, "Film don't lie." So
but like, but it brings this digital media thing into like more of a hard copy thing, and just like in a day and time like this, I think it's a big thing. But
I can't get past that, my bad.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't get past it.
Yo, like as we kind of wrap this up, man, like the floor is yours, like whatever.
Man,
It's 12:02.
last things for me. I'll touch on what you said about the photos on the wall.
Okay, and I got one last question for you.
Okay.
Ian. Go ahead.
I'll say this: I feel the same way about mine. So our curator took some images from the city library that I've taken, and he put them up on the wall. One was of the Key Bridge, and I had Mayor Scott looking out at the Key Bridge, but he was out of focus, and the bridge was in focus. And I remember the moment because we had all been up for like forever and a day. But when I look at how much that came alive for me and brought back so many raw emotions about where we were, you seeing the recovery efforts, of people finding loved ones in the water. Like I saw all of the things, a lot. I didn't see all, I saw a lot. But when I saw how that picture made that moment so real and raw for me, but it also was a galvanizing point between trust between me and the community of taking the photo, showing the honesty of watching Mayor Scott having to carry the load of the city burden side of it, but everybody still having to trust me to paint the picture in an accurate sense. And so the responsibility, the burden, it came alive on the wall. Digitally, it was cool. We all appreciated the moment, but to see it sit on the wall every day, and other people have to walk by and interpret what it is that I shot, what it was that he was feeling, and then you talk about the lives that were impacted by what you saw on the ship. I think for me, that's what the prints do for me. It brings it alive for me. It brings it full circle, and it gives me closure.
Yeah.
So when I have a chance to have that closure, I can emotionally put it in a folder, put it in a box until it's time to actually talk about it. Or if I don't ever talk about it again, I'm okay with the resolve from what it is that I see on the wall. And so I don't think people talk about the psychological impact or the emotional impact of what a print does, aside from even using it as marketing material.
Yeah. I know you got to go, but I got one last question for you, man. And I was wanting to make this earlier, but a lot of folk don't know this. I'm sure, because we haven't even talked about it in depth. But you had a bout with cancer, and it was during a pivotal time. And I mean, you were in the process of trying to cross alpha and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking to, was he Chief Dean? Was he your Chief Dean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Both
Yes.
of our Chief
Yes.
Deans.
Yes. Yes.
Was kind of talking about this last night, but like not just into alpha, but just like in the grand scheme of like growth and moving forward. You're going through chemo. You're going through like, can you just talk through that of like what kept you pushing? Because I've seen a lot of folks give up. Like I've seen a lot of folks, they'll get that, what's the name, and and they might go through the therapy, the chemo and all that kind of stuff, but like ambition, drive, passion, all of that dies. But it didn't for you, and it fueled you. Like, can you just kind of speak to that real quick before you get up out of here?
First and foremost, I mean, I think, which we did talk about, like God was the epicenter of all of that strength and that support. Secondly, family, wife, kids, household, everybody at home was like, even the kids didn't really know. Because I was just trying to keep everything normal, go about my day to day. I was still coaching middle school basketball, still doing all the things in the midst of. But what people don't realize is the camaraderie of the brotherhood. No matter how hard it gets, no matter what you're being challenged to do, there's still a quiet, unspoken locker room type support. And being a former athlete, I already had a blueprint or some type of emotional DNA as to what that felt like. So when I walked into those rooms with the potential brothers at the time, it was still there. But I was being challenged at the highest level that I could be challenged. Like it was no, okay, we're gonna feel sorry for you because you're going through this. No, you decided to stay, so you got to go through the fire too. But it was a level of accountability, but I also understood that there was respect too. And it was just, you draw strength from other strong men. And I think we've always been able to do that. And when you hear people talk about fraternities and being a part of secret societies and all that crazy stuff, what people fail to realize is I got a brother I can call anywhere I go. I got a brother who I see when I'm out eating who's a part of that process, and I'm getting ready to pay for my bill, and they were like, "Oh, it's cool. Somebody took care of that." Not that you go for that reason,
Yeah.
but because that person knows the hell that you went through and back. They respect you, they love you, they support you, and you do the same for them as well.
Yeah.
So it's cyclical in that sense, but it's another reason not to give up. It's another reason not to disappoint somebody because you said, no, I can't. So that word isn't in my vocabulary. I'll fail before I say I can't. It'll all fall apart around me before I stop trying.
Yeah.
So, and I always know people watching that, and being a former athlete, like I watched my school play beat up on NC State in the bowl game the other day. But I remember those hot days, those long days on the field, and all the things that came with, all right, everybody else is in the air conditioner, but it's 105 of us out here in 105-degree weather with purple helmets on.
Yeah.
I can't quit.
Yeah.
So it's just not part of my DNA. You had to fire me. You had to send me out the door before I quit. So,
Yeah. And I'll say in closing, because you didn't quit. Just for y'all don't know, that's what I'm saying. Y'all be hitting JJ like, yeah, this is my, he was my recommender. JJ was the one who brought me into this doggone thing. Him and Darren Thomas. Shout out to y'all, man. But I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the day.
Yes, sir.
Love you, bro.
Always
I appreciate
love.
you, man. Appreciate you.